we are going to be talking a whole lot about Matt Gaetz and this withdrawal. He is no longer going to be the Attorney General. We're going to be talking about as well this hour. Sorry, folks, I'm having some technical difficulties, but we're going to get this sorted out.
Venezuelan illegal immigrant was arrested after attacking a New York prosecutor in her home. And he has absolutely no remorse. He, of course, is smiling in this video as he's being taken out in cuffs. So we're going to get to that. Plus, a huge migrant caravan is coming across the southern border. They're hoping to secure a spot before Trump's inauguration. And then we're going to get to, of course, the Florida Attorney General, Pam Bondi. She is going to be serving in his administration, I believe. I don't know. It's pretty early. Donald Trump is really coming out early with a lot of these picks. I think it's because he wants to get... Yeah, I think I'm getting an echo. Hold on, folks. We're going to fix this really quick.
Hold on.
I think we're... I'm going to get the technical difficulties worked out. So hold on.
Okay.
I know I'm echoing a lot, folks. If you'd like to go to the stream, we should be able to get that worked out. But there is a huge migrant caravan coming across the southern border. Also, Venezuelan illegals were arrested, or a Venezuelan illegal was arrested in New York at her home, at this New York prosecutor's home. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to work out these technical issues, and then I'll be back at the top of the hour with a few of those stories next on Conservative Cat.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Hi, Chris.
Well, no, you got. Do you have the studio back now?
I do have the studio back, but I can hear myself in the slapback. I don't know why that is.
Okay. Because I don't have audition on you.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Wait, that might have fixed it. Testing. Nope, it's still there.
Still there. Okay. How about now? Try it now.
Testing 1 2 3. Still there.
Okay. Right now.
Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, still there.
I honestly don't know what's going on here because it's like everything looks right.
Maybe if I disconnect and then reconnect. Testing. It sounds like there's a mic open. Like, is the timeline mic open as well?
I don't think so, but it's in source AB. It's not open at all. It's just lit up at the top. That's it. Cool Edit is in program and audition. Could it be that we have a beat in here?
Testing.
Here, let me try this. What do you got now?
Testing. Oh, still there.
Okay.
It's really weird.
Here, let's try this. Try it now.
Testing. Yeah, still there. It's really weird because you're echoing too, and it sounds like there could be like a mic open, but I know that like mic 1 2 and 3 are not open, right?
the pods are down. They're in program, but let me try taking them out of program and see what happens here. Try it now.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's still there.
It's got to be. Some channels got to be open on the board. Is it because they're in queue, maybe? Try it now.
Testing. Yeah, it's still there.
Shoot. Studio monitoring program. Maybe that needs to be out. No, that just all that would be used. We'll try it. What do you got now?
Testing.
1, 2.
Yeah, it's still there. Really weird. I don't know. I'd have to see a picture of the board, but maybe if I send one to John Hall, he can figure it out.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me see. Because I know you've sent me pictures before of the board, right? I should have your picture in here. I'll just scroll back here. What's this? It's a corner.
Yeah, it's like super echoey.
Just scrolling back looking for the picture here.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, right there. Okay. What is that? All right. Darn it. It's 92.9 Sports. I want a little advice from Uncle Murph to start this one. Take the Bears to 3.5 against the Vikings Sunday at Soldier Field. I think the Bears are going to be a little bit energized after that black field goal. The Vikings just aren't playing that well right now. Illinois football's at Rutgers tomorrow. The Redbirds are going to start the
Okay, I got it.
here in NHL last night for us as the Blackhawks finally held on to a lead against the Stanley Cup champion Panthers. They beat them 3-1. And the Blues needed the shootout, but they got past San Jose 3-2. Tonight, Bloomington Bison will stand in goal at the Mercer Runners Arena at 7. It's $3.99, $3 Bears, starter hot dogs, free popcorn, and $9 specialty cheese. Illinois hoops host Eastern Maryland Shore Saturday. Well, tonight the Bulls host Atlanta and snowball football. Thursday night football last night.
Kind of weird because the return. So like my side, the input, without me talking, it like is bouncing. So it means that there's like input other than me going into the board, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. All right, let me get a hold of John because I'm lost.
No,
Okay.
you're good. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
I'll
Because the news never stops. The news and talk.
Woo! Folks, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. I am going to be getting through this with a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to work on those and it should straighten up. But for now, let's talk a little bit about the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg. He was too busy going after Donald Trump, of course, and he kept making all of these errors. I mean, he made some accounting errors, really, because he turned a blind eye to the epidemic of the illegal immigrants coming across the border. Okay, so you've got this Venezuelan migrant. He's a part of the gang, the Venezuelan gang that's really popular around here. They've been found in this state, Illinois. Now, this comes with consequences. When you turn a blind eye to the illegal immigrants and you're so focused on Donald Trump, which Alvin Bragg was, you're going to wind up falling victim to Venezuelan crime. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9.
Hey,
Hey,
Chris.
Chris.
Yeah, I had to jump in. It's inaudible. Try relogging in. It sounds like something I've never heard before. As far as slap back, try relogging in and see what that does.
Okay.
It's got to be something on the end because it sounds like nothing I've heard here. So.
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah.
If I just go like this, go like this, log into VNC, I guess, and then I disconnect. It's really weird because I'm not even connected to the timeline, and it's like slapping back for some odd reason.
Yeah,
Testing. Hang on.
If you log
Whoa. I've got no idea what that was.
Yeah.
Testing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna record. I could probably record some of these breaks and just drop them in. That's what I think I'm gonna do, is just record myself and between the commercial breaks and just drop them in, because I don't know what's going on. I disconnected, reconnected, and I have no idea.
Yeah. Just call me on the phone, otherwise I'll just put you through the phone.
Oh, okay.
Call me straight up and I'll just put you on the telephone.
Yeah, and we'll see if that fixes it. I have a feeling that the board will still not work, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, wait, hang on. I think I fixed the issue on my end. Hold on.
I'm really going places in my office. Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidate for you. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Holidays are around the corner. Company is coming over, and this furniture is embarrassing. Last year, we had to use folding chairs so everybody had a seat, but not this year. I'm not waiting for Black Friday. I'm going to Fairbury Furniture now. Make sure everyone has a seat at the table. Fairbury Furniture has over 20 dinette sets to choose from.
Hello?
Some sets come with as many as 12 chairs. Now look at this.
Yep, I hear the radio station, so.
Fairbury Furniture has a showroom bursting with recliners, sectionals, and sofas from Flex Steel. Perfect for hanging with the family. They can add wow to any room. And best of all, you can take it home today. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I can hear the station.
Goodbye, boring. Before the holidays, hop in the car and take the itty-bitty drive to Fairbury Furniture, where customers love their big city selection, small town pricing, and their take-it-home-today buying power. At Tax and Accounting Plus, they're rock stars, but instead of microphones and guitars, they use spreadsheets. Focus on growing your business and servicing your customers while Tax and Accounting Plus handles your payroll and bookkeeping. Find the experts at taxaccountingplus.com.
Woohoo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Gal on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single morning with me. We're working out some technical issues, I think, right now. I think you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me all right. You guys can go ahead and find me on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. We are going to be getting into this story, and it's about a Venezuelan migrant. Okay, I'm good. My producer says I'm good. Good. This is great news. All right, so we're going to get into this story with Alvin Bragg and, of course, this Venezuelan migrant. He turned a blind eye to this guy, and he, of course, was taken out in cuffs, and he was smiling, folks, actually smiling. And it's quite disturbing to watch the video. So I actually saw this. This was really interesting, where you've got, hold on, let me get my wits about me. Okay, one of Bragg's assistants. Okay, so this was Alvin Bragg, and Alvin Bragg's assistant she was there, and she was attacked by this illegal migrant. And the worst part is that he was able to do a lewd act in front of her, and then I guess that he was trying to rob her. So the illegal immigrant from Venezuela with suspected ties to the Tren de Aragua gang. So this is a Venezuelan gang. He was arrested outside a New York City migrant shelter after allegedly breaking into this DA's house, or this prosecutor's house. Okay, so she works in the office of Alvin Bragg. So he was pleasuring himself and robbing her, according to a report. Now, I'm not here to victim blame. I don't want to victim blame, but I've got to ask, how many migrants did this DA in New York let walk free? I mean, she just is allowing these illegal immigrants to be walking free, and it shouldn't shock anybody. I could have called this. Everybody saw this coming. The fact that this Venezuelan migrant came in and robbed her is not shocking. It's just not shocking. So Brandon Somoza is his name. He's 25 years old, and he followed this an unidentified 38-year-old woman into her apartment. We don't know her name. She's not disclosing her name, but she works in the DA's office. Now, once inside, he demanded cash, stole all of her credit cards and her cell phone, her purse, and then he allegedly performed a lewd act in front of the female. So he was arrested, folks, but then you look at this video of him getting arrested, he's smiling, no remorse. I mean, really, these are the kind of people that you are demanded to help. They want you to think that this is compassionate to help people like this. If you are going to help anyone, why on any reason on earth there you should not be helping these types of people in the tiniest bit? If we're going to allow illegal immigrant or allow migration, why can't we just help the tiniest bit of decent people? Like, I'm just asking for decent people to be helped. Why are the worst members of society given everything for free while Americans suffer the most? Do you think that Daniel Penny, Daniel Penny, he was on, of course, the subway, the New York subway, and he's facing all kinds of charges, although he was just trying to defend people from this homeless guy. And I think that he's going to be treated probably way worse than this migrant. This migrant probably was given luxury status, hotel, credit cards, all of that on taxpayer dime. Meanwhile, you've got Daniel Penny sitting away, rotting in jail. He's got to defend himself for defending others. That's essentially what he's charged with, is attempted murder, and I think it's like a negligent homicide or something like that, and he's facing that, although he put the guy in a chokehold and he was just simply trying to defend people on that subway. Daniel Penny is not going to be treated in the same way that this Venezuelan migrant was. This Venezuelan migrant, from what I understand, was a menace to society. He was out and he was able to go after this this New York City attorney. Now, finally, after a New York City attorney has been affected by this, I'm willing to bet that they're finally going to open up their eyes to this, and they're going to do something about the crime. Now, he's victimized other people in New York. It's just that this victim had status, so now they're probably going to do something. It's unclear if the victim in this crime is going to change her mind on decriminalizing this type of behavior, because then possibly she'll just decriminalize it. She'll say, oh, lewd act, and it's inclusive, or we're being inclusive, we're diversity, we're going to allow people to perform lewd acts or steal things, and we're going to decriminalize that kind of behavior. I'm not too sure if this attorney still holds that ideology, or how many criminals or how many migrants she let get away. But I would imagine that an incident like this really changes your mind, and anyone with a fraction of the brain, a brain, could have figured out that, or could have predicted this. I mean, it only is a matter of time before they go after one of you, Alvin Bragg. So he was too busy focused on Donald Trump, and he made some accounting errors. He turned a blind eye to the epidemic that is the Venezuelan, but specifically the Venezuelan migrant crisis in New York. It's the Trinidad gang, which is really a vicious gang. And there's more of them coming, folks. So a group of about 1,500 migrants are rushing to the southern border in hopes of securing a spot before Donald Trump is inaugurated. Okay, so they want us to secure their spot, to secure the American dream, right, before Trump is inaugurated. These people, if you were to watch this video, they've got flip-flops on, they've got like designer clothes on, they look really well fed, and I don't know, I mean, you've got to be really desperate to walk all the way to the United States wearing flip-flops, right? But they've got this, there's this video, and it's just this massive crowd, or this massive migrant huddle, I guess, and they're coming from the southern Mexico border, and they're openly admitting that they're desperate to cross into the United States before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. The migrants, mainly the Central and South America migrants, that's where they're coming from. They're bringing their children with them as well, and they're marching all the way up to the southern Mexico border, and they're trying to cross. So this is what one migrant said. He was interviewed by, oh gosh, let me look, the New York Post here. And this is what he says, quote, he's openly admitting why he's coming over the border. He says, it's going to be more difficult. That's why we're here. We're getting our hopes up to get an appointment quicker. So that way we're able to cross before he takes office, before Donald Trump takes office. They're openly admitting 1,500 migrants. That's huge, ginormous, massive, massive number here. He goes, it's going to be easier to get an appointment under this administration. This is what the Venezuelan migrant is saying. So when I think desperate asylum seeker, I'm not thinking these people. If you look at the video, they've all got nice clothes. They've got cell phones. They look like they're well fed. They're not malnourished. And I get it. You know, you're walking from Guatemala, Venezuela, and other parts of Central America. You don't look tired. That's what's really weird about this. They must be getting shipped into the southern border. I mean, they're walking, but I think that they're getting shipped in from these countries. So I don't know if they don't look malnourished. They don't look tired. And I don't know why they would be so desperate to come here. Really, you know, we've gotten away from what asylum actually is. Asylum, and I know some Ukrainian asylums, actually. They're here fleeing the war in Ukraine. And I've talked to specifically them, and that is a different situation. That's actually seeking asylum. You're a refugee in this country because you're running away from quite literally war. In some of these countries, running away from poverty is not a reason to seek asylum. Just because you're, you know, in an impoverished nation, which is really sad, does not mean that you get asylum or are granted asylum. Typically, you grant asylum to people who actually need it, people who don't have food, people who are malnourished, people who are being persecuted in their own country. So the migrants have largely been unable to support themselves in this Tabukala. That's where they're all coming from, the Tabukala city. Of about 350,000. So they decided to risk the nearly 1,100-mile trek through the entirety of Mexico to the nearest border crossing, which is right across from the Rio Grande and Brownsville, Texas. So you're listening to Conservative Cat Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm going to be right back with more stories ahead Happy Friday, 6:30 a.m. We're a little bit technical difficulties this morning, but we're straightening those out. We've got so much news ahead. You won't want to go anywhere. It's Conservative Cat.
Their team of skilled technicians uses the latest technology to keep your vehicle riding smooth and safe on the road. From aligning your wheels to ensuring your vehicle's advanced safety systems are perfectly calibrated, we handle it all with the expertise you can trust. Don't let a rough ride or misaligned wheels slow you down. Drive in today and experience the difference at Baird's Auto and Tire, where precision meets perfection.
I'm Larry with Baird's Auto and Tire. We work on your car so you don't have to. This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds? What if you sent your true love to Turtle Doves plus a purchase your favorite drink?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
It's almost very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your one?
Terms apply.
Hey, Kat, everything seems to be going good.
Okay, good. We'll just keep it like this then.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm trying to get a hold of John. I've got a picture of the board, too, and some other stuff, so hopefully he'll wake up in a second here or whatever, see it, and give us a call. So.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, I'll put you back in
Turn
a
this
little
down.
For free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The news is brought to you by me, Ryan Scritchell of Scritchell Slapjack. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on fucking concrete before they call me. Call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it. Unit 5 and District 87 are exploring a 1% sales tax proposal to fund building projects, potentially ease property tax burdens. Now, the proposal, which could go before voters in April, was discussed during separate board meetings Wednesday as both districts outlined lower preliminary tax rates for the upcoming fiscal year. Former Chicago Alderman Daniel Solis has started testifying at the corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. Solis said he secretly cooperated with the government for about 2.5 years. He still faces a pending bribery charge. FBI Special Agent Ryan McDonald testified that Solis' cover was blown when news of his cooperation with the government leaked to the press. Former Madigan campaign worker Ed Moody finished his testimony Thursday morning. Prosecutors played a wiretapped conversation of Moody asking co-defendant Michael McLean if there was a new subcontractor who might be paying him. I was just following up any word on any potential replacement. Yeah, I'm looking around. Moody was working in Cook County government while doing campaign work for Madigan, getting paid by a ComEd contractor. I'm Chip Talamonte. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa, I'm Tom Davis.
Here's the Bloomington normal forecast on Cities 92.9.
Cloudy today with a high near 45. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 31. Partly sunny for Saturday with a high of 45. Sunday, partly sunny and warmer with a high near 55. Monday, a chance of rain before noon, high 52. The weather is being brought to you by Dr. Justin Hillman of True Health Chiropractic and Massage on East Washington Street. If you're in pain, contact True Health today.
Cities 92.9 sports.
Let's start with hardwood as the Bulls host Atlanta tonight, while Illinois State is enjoying the Virgin Islands right now. They'll play McNeese later. Illinois hoops, Illini host Eastern Maryland Shore on Saturday. Now to the ice, where the Blackhawks beat the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers 3-1. This time they held on to a lead, and in St. Louis, the Blues needed the shootout, but they got past San Jose by a final of 3-2. The Bears are a 3.5-point dog to the Vikings Sunday at Soldier Field, while college-wise fighting Illini football team at Rutgers tomorrow. The Redbirds are home against North Dakota. And it's 3:09 night for the Bloomington Bison. They'll take on the Indy Fuel at 7. $3 beers, $3 sodas, $3 hot dogs, free popcorn, and $9 specialty teas. Thursday night football, the Snow Bowl. It was Cleveland over Pittsburgh 24-19. And I'm Chris Murphy, Cities 92.9 Sports.
At Tax and Accounting Plus, they're rock stars, but instead of microphones and guitars, they use spreadsheets. Focus on growing your business and servicing your customers while Tax and Accounting Plus handles your payroll and bookkeeping. Find the experts at taxaccountingplus.com.
morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. We are going to get into a couple of stories here. Before I took the break, I was telling you about the migrants. There's a huge crowd of them coming over. They're making a 1,000-mile trek, essentially. Now, I don't really believe that. I think that they're getting shipped up to the border. They don't look really tired. They're doing it in flip-flops. I'm pretty sure people are shipping them up to that southern border. But they're claiming to have made the trek from Tapakula, which is about a city of 350,000 people, and they decided to risk this 1,000-mile trek to get up to Mexico to cross into the United States. And you've got Venezuelan migrants saying, hey, we're doing it because Donald Trump is going to take office, and we're thinking that we could get an appointment or, seek asylum, and it'd be easier under this administration rather than the Trump administration. So they're trying to get out ahead of this. Now, I do want to talk about former Representative Matt Gaetz. Now, he's former because he resigned his seat from at least the 118th. Now, he won his election for the 119th Congress. So I don't know if he's going to wind up serving in that Congress. It's just too early to tell what he's going into and what's going on right now. But Matt Gaetz withdrew his name from the nomination consideration. Donald Trump, the President-elect Donald Trump, he tried to get him to be the Attorney General. But he made the announcement yesterday as documents from the House Ethics Committee investigation into the former Florida congressman alleging sexual misconduct were leaked to the New York Times. Okay, so some of this was all leaked to the New York Times from this House Ethics investigation. Now, this investigation was closed after he resigned his seat from Congress. That effectively closed the investigation. And then, he was getting this appointment from the Attorney General. That's where we thought Matt Gaetz was going to go. But now it looks like he's resigned from that seat. He's not going to be a congressman anymore, and he's not going to be the Attorney General. So Gaetz posted to X on Thursday. He goes, I had excellent meetings with senators, and I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it was clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. Then he goes on, he says, there's no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I will be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. So here we go. I mean, you've got Donald Trump already. He's already got a new gal in there. Now, I've got a couple of, what do you say? I don't know, theories, working theories. Like I said, this is all just speculation on my part. Full disclosure, just my opinion. I don't know what exactly is going on, why he exactly resigned. I don't believe in the distraction nonsense. I think that he had enough momentum to get across the finish line. One thing that you need to know is that the Senate confirmations for the executive appointments, I don't think that they matter that much. And he might have had a hard time. There was like 4 senators that he wasn't able to get Matt Gaetz to vote yes on his confirmation. But they don't really matter all that much because Donald Trump can just fire whoever they put in there and then put in. I mean, I don't think that they matter all that much. They should have and I think that they were going to fight like hell to get Matt Gaetz across the finish line. And like Gaetz said, we had a lot of momentum. Now, there's a couple of working theories out there. Gaetz, he was, whether he did it or not, innocent until proven guilty, okay? The Democrats want it to be guilty until proven innocent with this whole underage girl sex misconduct or whatever. Right? Now, the DOJ said that they had no evidence to pursue this. Merrick Garland wasn't even going to pursue this. And Merrick Garland is known for weaponizing the government and going after, at least Donald Trump for all kinds of silly things. I think it's interesting if everybody is accused of sexual assault within this administration, I mean, they're accusing RFK Jr., they're accusing Trump's pick for the Department of Education of sexual assault, they're accusing Pete Hegseth, like every single one of Trump's picks, which I just don't believe. The Department of Ed woman, like, I don't know how they were able to, craft an accusation like this against this woman, but they did. They did it against Pete Hegseth. I mean, everybody. Elon Musk, he also had sex assault allegations, sex abuse allegations. The New York Times pointed that out as well. The only one they haven't gone after is Vivek Ramaswamy, because they don't really need to. They've gone after Elon Musk. But come on, folks. You really expect me to believe that every single one of Trump's picks have some sort of sexual deviancy about them? And we all know that leftist Democrats, they are masters of projection. Okay, so most likely their sexual deviancy, they're projecting that onto a lot of Donald Trump's picks. Matt Gaetz, he's been at this for a long time. Like, this investigation against him has been going on for quite some time. The DOJ actually didn't have enough evidence to pursue an investigation against him. Merrick Garland called off the investigation against Matt Gaetz. Merrick Garland would, he would prosecute Donald Trump for killing a fly. Okay, that's the type of guy Merrick Garland is, which tells me all I really need to know about the accusations made against Gaetz. But he could be guilty. And here's my working theory here is that Gaetz, wanted this investigation over with, and Donald Trump maybe swooped in and helped him out, or he wanted to leave Congress, which, when your family has been raked through the coals, drugged through the mud, your name has just been damaged, I would not blame you for wanting to get out of Congress. Maybe he wants to pursue something in the private sector. We don't know what's going on in Matt Gaetz's life. Maybe he just did not want to be in Congress anymore, but he couldn't resign. They put him in a sticky situation where if he resigned from Congress, he would have looked guilty because he had this investigation going up against him. So in order to save face, maybe he resigned after, the AG appointment to kind of give it that, oh, I'm resigning from my congressional seat because I've got my appointment here. And, that's why I'm resigning. It's not because of this sex abuse or assault allegation or this investigation going on in the House Ethics Committee. Okay. It could be something as simple as that, where, Trump decided to help the guy out. This was really early on. I didn't talk about the Matt Gaetz appointment a whole lot on this program because I knew it was way too early to be making an appointment for AG like that. And that this was either a move that Donald Trump was playing to get, maybe weed out some rhinos, try to figure out who would be up against the Matt Gaetz nomination, try to find out who those Republicans are, and then who your friends are and who your enemies are, going into this new Congress, the 119th Congress. I don't know, but there's a lot of things that could be going on. Perhaps Matt Gaetz is going to fill. I would love to see this happen. This would be a move. Matt Gaetz filling that Senate seat that Marco Rubio left behind. Now, if you look at the Senate, the Republican side of the Senate, if you look over there, it's really interesting because there's not a whole lot of firebrands, as I like to call them, or MAGA Republicans. There's just not. We have slim pickings over there in the Senate. And we already know that Mitch McConnell, he announced that he wasn't going to pursue the leadership role. He wanted to step out of his minority leadership role. He announced that back in February. So perhaps, now this could be something that happens. Matt Gaetz is now Governor Ron DeSantis has to fill that Senate seat. I believe that's up to Ron DeSantis, if I remember my civics class. It's up to Ron to fill that seat. He could fill it with Matt Gaetz in the Senate, and then he could become the Senate Majority Leader, where you've got, Right now, I think it's I don't know who it is in the Senate right now. I know Mitch McConnell is the Senate Minority Leader right now. The Democrats have the majority in the Senate, but that would be pretty cool if we could get Matt Gaetz in there and he leads the Senate, because really that's what should have happened from the beginning. Is that Matt Gaetz should have gotten that speakership. He worked like hard to get rid of Kevin there and Kevin McCarthy. And he was successful. They got Mike Johnson in there, which I'm not a big fan of. I like Mike Johnson. I think he's a nice fella, but I mean, the Ukraine stuff, that's why we wanted a new speaker, is because we're sick and tired of the Ukraine spending packages. And, Mike Johnson isn't as, going into this new administration, going into this new term, you're going to want people on both the House and the Senate who will work with you on your agenda, okay? Work with you on the America First agenda, the Save America agenda. And he doesn't have anybody in the Senate right now. Donald Trump doesn't have anybody in the Senate that is trustworthy. You've got Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. That's about it. And Hawley definitely works in the private sector, doesn't probably want a leadership role. Ted Cruz, I don't think that they could trust Ted Cruz. And that's why they might be getting Gaetz into the Senate. Who knows, right? They've already got a decent House Speaker, definitely not going to go up against the MAGA movement or the America First agenda. He's going to help with that agenda. So I don't know. They might be trying to work to get him in the Senate. I have a couple of working theories. Don't know exactly why he bowed out, but I know that there's probably some 4D chess going on, and that we aren't privy to the plan. So there's a lot of working theories. He did pick a new attorney general, kind of like her. She seems to Make America Great Again movement. She seems to be a loyalist of Donald Trump, which, you want somebody in there who is going to go up against the president in some sort of way, but also somebody that you trust. So he picked this Pamela Bondi. Matt Gaetz withdrew his nomination for the U.S. Attorney General, and that decision came after a meeting with senators, according to the New York Times, by the way. So I wanted to name off the senators who were going up against Matt Gaetz, because you need to know that these are the four rhinos. Now, all of the Republicans in the Senate are not great, because you've got them approving Joe Biden's picks. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday on the program, Conservative Cat Cities 92.9, the news and talk bluing to normal. Thank you so much for joining in. 309-451-9299. You can always text me and weigh in. Did you expect this news that Matt Gaetz was going to withdraw his name from consideration? I did not have that on my bingo card, but I never talked about the Matt Gaetz appointment because it just was so early, and I don't know what move they're trying to make here. Maybe they're trying to weed out the rhinos. Now, a lot of rhinos in the Senate, okay, because you've got, and I talked about this yesterday on the program, them approving a lot of the lower judgeships for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden has been nominating a lot of these judges for the lower courts, and a lot of the Republicans are actually rubber stamping this, which is so bad, because you've got the left who's willing to use the judiciary. They do it all the time for what they can't get done at the ballot box. You've got Governor J.B. Pritzker. He's trying to go out there with his Think Big America and make it to where every single state enshrines abortion into their constitution. Not what I think the Supreme Court had in mind when they said, hey, let's give it up to the states. But you've got Think Big America. They're trying to get out there at the ballot box or on the ballot, and they're trying to, enshrine abortion in every state, enshrine it into state constitutions across the nation. And that, of course, is at Governor Pritzker. Governor Pritzker is behind all of that. One guy is going to try to legalize abortion everywhere. And I think it was like 8 states or something approved their abortion referendum this past election. And all 8 states are like, a lot of those states, it was all at the behest of Think Big America, which is this abortionist, nonprofit, non-government organization that Governor J.B. Pritzker funnels a bunch of money into. Okay, so they will use the judiciary to get done what they can't get done at the ballot box because they're losing legislative control. They're going to use the courts as a, hey, I'm going to ignore the law and I'm going to rule this way. And then precedent, will tell us that, this is how we're going to govern. And this is, they will use the courts as a legislative body because they've done that historically. Now, there was a woman who was appointed confirmed. She's a judge in the Northern District. It was a federal court up north. Her name is April Perry. Now, she worked as a law clerk for Joel Flom, Judge Joel Flom. Joel Flom is a radical judge, liberal. There was actually this law where in Indiana, they were trying to get it to where women couldn't have abortions on the basis of gender or race or disability. So you've got to write down, hey, I'm having an elective abortion because of this reason. And there were women who were saying, hey, I'm going to have an abortion because my child's disabled, or the baby's disabled, or the baby's black, or the baby is a girl, right? So in this country, we probably shouldn't be doing that. So they made some legislation, and he ruled against, or said that legislation was unconstitutional. So he's an abortionist, okay? So she also went to the law school of Governor G.B. Pritzker, the Northwestern Pritzker Law School. So we can kind of guess where she lies in the political scale, right? Leftist. And that's the thing about liberal judges, is that they don't rule like your code or your robes there. They're black. They're not red. They're not blue. And I think a lot of Republican judges, but a lot of them don't understand that you are supposed to be impartial. You're supposed to be impartial and rule based on the law, but you more traditionally on the liberal side because of the philosophy they subscribe to. What they do, they'll think of the Constitution as the law, as it's a living document, or, the law, that pesky little law, it's kind of not a one size fits all, and, it just kind of depends on the person, okay? So that's what we're facing in the Senate. There's a lot of rhinos in the Senate who have been confirming these picks for Joe Biden, okay? Now, there's no reason for a Republican to be doing this because there is no filibuster for these lower courtships or lower courts and the judges being confirmed. So they don't need the Republicans because they have the majority. So there's no reason for any Republican to be voting on these. And if a Republican in the Senate is voting on these nominations, shame on you. And shame on these 4 Republicans: John Curtis of Utah, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. These were the 4 senators who were really giving Gates a hard time about his nomination to the Attorney General seat. And there was a battle there. There was a battle between these 4 and the MAGA Republicans, Trump and Gates, to get him in there. So now we've got Pam Bondi, which I'm thinking she will be good. I don't know much about her, to be honest. She's the Florida Attorney General, and that's been pretty much all I know about her. She's really anti, drug trafficking, drug cartels, things like that. So I do want to shift gears. We've got one more story, and then we're going to come back on the other side, the 7 o'clock hour, folks. Okay, I do want to talk about, this is kind of a fun story. I always try to pull a fun story for your Friday. It's Friday, 6:53 a.m. Did you enjoy the snow? It's really funny when I talk to my brother up north. He's only a couple of hours away. They got like an inch and a half or something like that. And we didn't get any snowfall to stick or anything like that. So they got like an inch and a half, and it was kind of sticking a little bit. So I didn't see a whole ton of snow last night or yesterday, but hopefully, we'll get like a white Christmas this year. I think the last time there was a white Christmas, I had to have been like 8 years old. I haven't seen a white Christmas in a long time. All right, I want to get to this story. This is pretty hardcore. Kangaroos brawling. I don't know why, but this is like going viral. This kangaroo actually throws another kangaroo into a metal wall. So I'm interrupting our coverage right now of Donald Trump nominating officials and the left having meltdown about those officials. And I'm bringing you this breaking story of Australian kangaroos beating each other up. All right. So I don't know what's so funny about this. I think it's the fact that they just hop around and like kangaroos just look weird. And this is a case where you've got two kangaroos fighting and another one puts the other one through the wall. And it's really entertaining to watch, but this video has gone viral. Seriously, right through the wall. So you've got Hoppy versus Mr. Pouch there. He's got, he's a, what do you call those? Marsupials? And he's got a little pouch. Now, I don't know what set these two off. I'm assuming it's a Jill. Now, you might not know what a Jill is. I had to Google it as well. I Googled what a Jill was, and it's a female kangaroo. People were, assuming that, in nature, a lot of times these kangaroos, they'll battle it out with each other over a female kangaroo. Two male kangaroos, most likely. Mr. Hoppy over here found out that he was, Mr. Pouch over here was shagging his old lady. Right? And he was not happy about it. So there was a brawl that broke out. But in a fit of rage, you've got Mr. Hoppy over here and Mr. Pouch, the marsupial, Mr. Pouch. They've got Hoppy throwing Mr. Pouch through a metal wall. It was hilarious to watch. I don't know. I don't think that the throwing through the wall killed the kangaroo. He was laying down for quite some time in the video, which was kind of interesting. I was like, did he die? What happened? But I don't think he's dead. The article that I was reading, they didn't get into detail, but Godspeed, Godspeed, Hoppy. Hopefully one day you'll find love again. I would get rid of the the gal that was cheating on you with Mr. Pouch, okay, Hoppy? And whatever happened to bros before ruse? You know what I mean? Bros before the kangaroo cheating Jills. So bros or jacks before Jills, I guess. I think a male kangaroo is called a jack. I'm pretty sure. Let's somebody look that up for me. 309-451-9299. All right. When we come back, we are going to be talking about the Berlin officials. So you've got German officials now telling Jewish people that they have to be careful when entering certain neighborhoods, because it's they're dealing with an Arab population. These Arab migrants, they have open borders there in Germany, and they're dealing with the Arab population, and these Arabs are going after the Jewish population there in Germany. So now the German officials, instead of, locking up these Arabs for being violent against Jewish people, they are warning the Jewish people to be careful and to avoid certain areas. Interesting. Call me crazy, but I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't be telling your Jewish citizens to be vigilant when traveling about their daily lives. Maybe you should, go after the criminals. I'll be right back. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal.
News starts now with Fox Radio News on City 92.9, WRBW, Colfax, Bloomington Normal.
Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Folks, we are going to be getting into today's stories about I do want to talk about the Jewish people being told to be careful and to watch out for whom they reveal their identity to. So Berlin issued a message to gay people and to Jewish people, so gays and Jews, warning them that they're not safe in these Arab communities. I'm going to take a quick break. I got to work out a couple of technical difficulties, a little bit of tech monkeys going on this morning. So we're going to come back and I'm going to work this out. And then we're going to talk about the German officials warning the Jewish people to be careful in these Arab neighborhoods. I just can't believe it. They're telling the Jewish people to be careful and telling them to stay out of these Arab neighborhoods. Why don't you just go after the people who are being anti-Semitic and who are causing these people to be, or who are causing this violence? I mean, just go after them. I don't know, call me crazy, but I don't think any citizen should have to stay vigilant when traveling about their own daily or in their daily life about their own country. So we're going to chat about that here next on Conservative Cat Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. Before we took the break, I was telling you a little bit about the Berlin officials. I can't believe that they're actually saying this to the Jewish people and to the gay people there in that country, that they can't move about their daily lives in the country because it's unsafe. Who would have guessed it would have taken less than 100 years for German officials to warn Jewish people to be careful and to watch out for whom they reveal their identity to? They're saying, hey, be careful, don't reveal your identity, don't reveal that you're Jewish, because these Arab neighborhoods or these Arab communities within these German neighborhoods, they're unsafe. So Berlin just issued a message. They're saying, hey, Jews and gay people, you need to hide your identity in these Arab neighborhoods. And this is what the Berlin police chief said. So it's less than 100 years, but Jews and gays, they need to hide their identities in Berlin again. Yes. So the New York Post, you know how they say, oh, we're not going back. We're not going back. We're there. We're all the way back 90 years ago in Berlin. They were telling Jews and gay people to hide their identities, and now fast forward to 2024, we're right back. You know, they say they're the progressive ones, leftists. They're actually so anti-progressive because all of their policies take us back by 100 years. So according to the New York Post, the police chief in Germany is now urging the Jews and the gay people to be vigilant while traveling in certain Arab majority neighborhoods. Now, they're Arab majority neighborhoods because the leftist progressives in Germany, they've been opening up the borders, letting all the Arabs in, which I'm not against Arab people by any means, folks, but you can't let culture, specifically extremists, into your country and then not expect this kind of stuff to happen where they're violent against certain groups of people. You can't let terrorists and be a safe harbor for terrorists without expecting there to be pockets of anti-Semitism in these cities or in these neighborhoods now. Quote, here is Barbara Slowick is her name. She's the police chief, German police chief, or the Berlin police chief, top cop. Okay, so she says, quote, there are areas of the city, we need to be perfectly honest here, where I would advise people who wear, the Jewish, I can't remember the name of it, but the kippah, I think it's a kippah, yeah. And if you're openly gay, you need to be more careful in these certain areas. So they're telling them to hide their identities, this police chief. Call me crazy, but I just don't think that that is a good thing. You should be going after the people who are causing the violence against these communities, right? Why would you be telling the Jewish people and the gay people to hide their yarmulke? That's it, the yarmulke. I think there's another, and it's called a kippah. I don't know. But a yarmulke, if you were wearing that yarmulke, she's saying, hey, don't wear Jewish garb, don't wear anything that would reveal your identity as Jewish. So I wonder what the response would be if the roles were reversed, if there were Jewish people attacking Islamic people, Arab people. What if actual citizens were not able to hide their blatant bigotry and hatred and started attacking Arab migrants? Okay, what if they start, if people start to attack Arab migrants? Would they ask them to be vigilant, the Arab migrants, or would they go after the Jewish people or the white people or the citizens there in Germany if they or would they go after them and then lock them up like they should be doing with these Arab migrants? Okay, these illegal immigrants, by the way, they're opening up the border, they're letting the terrorists come in, and they're safe harboring the terrorists, or they're harboring these terrorists. So in major cities, you should be vigilant, she says, or warns. And then she said, certain public places, you need to protect yourself. What? Then she says there are certain neighborhoods where the majority of people are Arab, who have sympathies for terrorist groups. if you're blatantly just being anti-Semitic and going after Jewish people, it's not that you have sympathies for terrorist groups. You are a terrorist group, okay? So there's some Arabs that have sympathies or tend to sympathize with terrorist groups. No. If they're going after Jewish people and gay people and they're hurting them, they are terrorists, okay? They're causing terror in your communities. And she talked about the open hostility in these areas. So I think it's safe to conclude these are not citizens. These are actually illegal immigrants. She refers to them as, people who live there. These are illegal immigrants, undocumented migrants, if you will. So I think any competent society would not import a bunch of people with no. And people get upset with me when I say this. I don't want your culture here in America. I don't. Everybody's always like, oh, diversity culture. We can celebrate our differences, but we don't need to be so different in that I'm accepting of your culture. If your culture is beating up on Jewish people and eating cats and dogs, I don't want you here in America. I'm sorry. You have to assimilate to the culture, the American culture, because here we don't do that sort of thing. We don't publicly defecate in the streets. We don't bury our feces in the sand. Okay, here. So if you do that in your country, you have to assimilate to American culture. And I'm not going to be celebrating that culture because it's violent, it's dangerous. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. But now you have a country, Germany, who they've taken this whole diversity of culture to an extreme, and they have remained silent about this culture of violence within these Arab pockets in these German neighborhoods. So this woman Slowick, the police chief in Berlin, tried to downplay these incidents of anti-Semitism, calling them few and far between. Now, the crimes against the Jews have surged in Germany since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war. So she's downplaying it. She's like, oh, it's only a few. It's only a few. I'm sorry. But if there's violence against even one Jewish person at the hands of an illegal immigrant in your country, I feel like that's one too many, because that person probably shouldn't even be there, especially if they're not willing to assimilate to the culture and be a respectable citizen, right? This should not surprise anyone who has a fraction of a brain. Okay, if you have just the itty bitty part of your brain, if you import a hostile group with none of your values, they don't hold any of your values, none of your culture, and they come in. And you have import this hostile group of people who hate a country and the people in it. You put everybody's safety at risk. You put those groups at risk: the Jewish community, the gay community, including legitimate migrants, by the way. So legitimate people who have migrated and went about it the legal way and wanted to go to that country to assimilate to their culture. Assimilating is not bad. Why does everybody want to come here? It's because our culture is awesome. Okay, the picket fence, the two dogs, the two cats, or the two kids, and the cats and the dogs, and the white picket fence, and grilling on 4th of July and wearing the American flag and hanging an American flag from your garage. Our culture is awesome. That's why everybody wants to come here. So it's not evil for me to say, oh, you should assimilate. That's not hey, we don't murder people here in the United States. You have to assimilate to our culture. You have to abide by our laws. That's not a bad thing. Okay, there's a reason why you wanted to come to the United States. So legitimate migrants in this country, Germany right now, in this country, they are, of course, their safety is at risk as much as everybody else. Okay, so the worst part is that the officials actually don't care. They don't care, and I am certain that if the situation was reversed, say you had Jewish people or white people or German people going after the Arab community, I feel like that would not be acceptable behavior, and they would start jailing those people. They'd start jailing the Jewish people or the German people for going after the Arab migrants or the Arab illegal immigrants, right? Oh, you're a bigot. And they if they were being violent against them, then they would probably be locked up. I feel like it would be different if the roles were reversed. Berlin has clearly lost a handle on things, much like here in the United States. We've lost a handle on things here when it comes to the illegal immigration. There is nothing wrong with demanding that the migrants assimilate to the culture here in the United States. It's actually in everybody's best interest and safety. Okay, there's a reason why you want to come to the country, right? It's because it's great, and we are demanding that you assimilate in some sort of way. At least abide by the laws, right? So progressive compaction is actually not compassion at all. It's evil. It's an evil fraud, really. They try to say, oh, it's compassionate to, celebrate each other's diversity, which I'm not saying that you have to, that we can't be a melting pot here in America and you can't have practices from your homeland and anything like that. But if you aren't willing to just say, hey, I'm going to abide by the United States law. I'm not going to eat cats and dogs. I'm not going to take that culture with me to America. You've got to be willing to do that as a migrant. You should want to do that as a migrant. And this is exactly why you don't base policy on insane platitudes or fake emotions or these naive feelings. You don't base policy off of that. You don't allow your borders to be open because you feel a certain type of way. I do have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Andy Zilch from the Bloomington Bison. They've got some games going on, which I'm really excited to talk about. And then a little bit later, I do want to get to Jasmine Crockett, representative. So she is throwing a fit and she's claiming Black people that she's never met were actually oppressed by white men. And then she says white men have never been oppressed, and that she actually goes on this tirade where she starts to get upset and she goes, I never asked to be here. I never asked to be here, which, I mean, the fact that she was reelected is probably the most concerning thing about this rant. It's not so much the rant. I mean, it's typical of a leftist, but I don't even know why she's talking about this. She doesn't know anybody she's talking about in this tirade. So I'll be right back. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk, Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single morning. Andy Zilch, he's joining me here on Conservative Cat Cities 92.9. We're going to be talking about the Bloomington Bison. There's a lot going on this weekend. I saw all of the puck drops for this weekend. There's one on Friday, there's Saturday, there's Sunday. So tell me about what's going on at Grosinger Motors Arena this weekend, Andy Zilch.
Yeah, so we have a 309 night tonight beginning at 7 o'clock. And for those of you that don't know what a 309 night is, that's $3 hot dogs, $3 draft beers, and $3 sodas. Free popcorn, that's the zero part of it, and a $9 specialty t-shirt. So you can sit there and eat popcorn all night.
Yeah, well, and what's going on tonight where you've got it at 7 o'clock, the puck's dropping. Indy Fuel is who the Bloomington Bison are facing. It's fraternity sorority night. So does it mean like you're encouraging people in fraternities and sororities to come out to the game tonight?
Correct. Yeah. So we're having, of course, we got a good college support here around the area. And for those of you that are in a fraternity or a sorority, give us a call for a special group rate. In addition to that, you'll be highlighted on the scoreboard and you'll get some recognition. So for anybody that's looking to come out and have some fun before Thanksgiving, give us a call, 309-965-HERD, HERD.
And one more quick thing I wanted to ask you about Pop Culture Night. Is that a theme? So that's on Saturday night, November 23rd, 7 o'clock at Grosinger Motors Arena. And then the Bloomington Bison are going up against, looks like Iowa?
Yes, that's right. So Pop Culture Night. So each period, there's 3 periods in hockey. So we're going to be celebrating 3 different decades as we move along through the game. So we'll have special themes, special concession prices. So we're going to kickstart it with the first period. We'll be celebrating the 80s. The 90s will be celebrated in the second period. And then we'll celebrate the 2000s in the third period. So make sure you come out. We'll have some really special, cool games that we'll play that'll be themed around those. So start off with your fanny packs in the first period.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, take the kids out. And where do I go to get tickets?
Yeah, so again, you give us a call, 309-965-HERD, HERD, or just go online, bloomingtonbisonhockey.com. And Kat, you mentioned off the get-go 3 games that we have coming up. So we have tonight, we have Saturday, and then we have Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Biggest party night of the year. It's another 309 night. So $3 draft beers, hot dog sodas, free popcorn, and another $9 specialty t-shirt.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, Andy, thanks so much for tuning in and chatting with us about the Bloomington Bison. Go Bison!
No, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right, folks. I wanted to have Andy on because, man, I love hockey. I love hockey. I like them beating up on each other mostly. That's my favorite part of hockey. So glad that he could have tuned in to Conservative Cat this morning. So go on out, get your tickets. It's a great way to get the kids out and get them to, watch some sports. Watching some sports is always good for the kids. Getting them involved in the community and being just out and about and having some fun, right? Okay, so Representative Jasmine Crockett, I want to get into this because she's throwing a big ol' hissy fit. Yes. I don't know how else better to explain it. She goes on this rant about white people. She says that she never asked to be here as a Black woman, right? And she goes, I'm oppressed. White people were never oppressed because they came here willingly. She's just all of it's wrong. All of it's just incorrect. And she's just sitting here talking about people she's never even met before. She talked about people she wouldn't even have thought of these people she's referring to. So let's take a listen. Here we go.
Misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. It's because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country.
Firstly, I don't even know what she's talking about. Who was kidnapped and why? And why is nobody being held accountable? She's talking about, centuries ago. If she's yelling about people she can't even name, then I think that this is a level of stupidity that should forever bar her from serving as a representative or representing the people in her district. I'm sorry. However, she was literally just reelected. Unfortunately, the people in her district elected her. That's almost more of a tragedy than her little rant here. I don't know what's up with liberals and trying to out cringe themselves, but this is another clip. I want to put this together, or I want to share this clip with you. This is more liberals trying to out cringe themselves. Here we go. Let's take a listen. Here we go.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
He's advising who? What? Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman.
That's beneath even
the order of your committee.
Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down. Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play,
Baby girl.
We are gonna move, and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
So who will have to fail? That Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to
recognizes
apologize. No.
Mr.
She
Perry.
needs to
Okay,
apologize.
hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're not.
Baby girl. Liberals are always trying to out cringe themselves. That was just so cringy to listen to AOC. But that was Jasmine Crockett as well, going up against Marjorie Taylor Greene there on the floor. And she was acting. By now, she's acting. You would think she would she's the one that would have been kidnapped. Okay, the way she's acting in this rant, the way she's acting in this tirade, really, you would think that she was the one that was kidnapped against her will, and she's talking about people she can't even name, which is just such a level of stupidity. However, we can almost be certain she has no idea what she's talking about. The fact that she claims the white man has literally never been oppressed is just proof. It just proves she knows nothing about human history. What about the Holocaust? Armenia right now. What about what's going on in Armenia? What are you talking about? White people have never been oppressed. White people are oppressed to this day. Okay. Human trafficking, right? I'm sure there's plenty of women who are human trafficked who happen to be whites, right? So additionally, the only state-sanctioned oppression is literally against white people. So human trafficking, state-sanctioned, opening the borders, allowing this to go on right under our nose, that is state-sanctioned oppression that is approved by the state, by the government. So that's the only state-sanctioned oppression that has gone on here in America. So against literally white men. So she is just as naive and she's just delusional. People need to call her out on her behavior. And I just don't know how this woman keeps getting elected, just getting elected over and over and over again. All right, I do have to take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. We'll be right back. folks, thanks so much for tuning in. So do appreciate it. Yeah, no, the Jewish people I understand aren't white. I mean, they're not like super brown, but the Holocaust. I mean, there were plenty of I said at the Holocaust. I mean, she knows very little about human history. Where you've got her saying, "Oh, that white people have never been oppressed." That's just not true. They're oppressed to this day. And then I brought up the Holocaust. The Holocaust, okay, there were plenty of non-Jewish groups that were oppressed and were taken to internment camps and taken to, gas chambers, things like that. It wasn't just non-Jewish Slavic people. You had, here we go. I'll just show you here really quick. This is a photograph of Slavic people. Slavic people were targeted by Nazi persecution. Gay people, right? I mean, the Holocaust wasn't just Jewish people. There were quite a bit of people who were just persecuted for their beliefs, and some of them were, Jehovah's Witness, gay men, communists were actually taken as well. And they were taken. These are inmates in the. Now I don't know about you. I know it's black and white, and you can't really tell. But these are Slavic men that were taken and oppressed. Okay, so you've got plenty of white, so-called white oppression, or people who have white skin who are oppressed. Okay, Nazi racist ideas. Meant that they saw the Slavic people who were Eastern European, including Polish people, Russian, Czech people, as inferior to Germans. I mean, it was a lot of people, just not the Jewish. The Jewish, they were largely targeted. But it was a lot of people who died at the hands and suffered terrible violence from the Nazis, okay? So it wasn't just Jewish people, but white people have been oppressed. I mean, I just don't understand where this woman, it just goes to show you she's completely naive. She has no idea what she's talking about, because she's sitting up there and just broad brushing it, saying that, white people have never been oppressed. They're still oppressed to this day. Armenia, you've got what's going on there today. And then you've also got sex trafficking, things like that in the United States. Okay. So we're going to talk about Nancy Mace and her fight against the bathroom policy on the federal property there in the Capitol. And then I think we're going to wrap up the show. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single morning. Smash that like button and share this out with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Yeah, I mean, this woman, I just don't understand it, where she's like, oh, white people have never been oppressed. Are you kidding me? It just goes to show you how stupid this woman is. White people are still oppressed today, and they have been oppressed. And I brought up the Holocaust, and people are like, oh, wait a second, Jewish people aren't white. The Holocaust did pertain to all kinds of people, Slavic people. It was based on people, Jehovah's Witness. It was based on really Russians, Polish people. Anybody who wasn't the German race was believed to be inferior, and that included a lot of people who had white skin. Okay, so to just broad brush and say that white people have never been oppressed, it just proves that she's just dumb. And then she's talking about people that she can't even name, okay, who were kidnapped. And I don't know who she's talking about. She goes, they were kidnapped. And, she's yelling about people she can't name. Then I think that that's a level of stupidity that should be forever. It should bar her from holding office. But unfortunately, you have people who reelect her and reelect her and reelect her. But liberals, they're the cringiest people. I mean, she's sitting there saying that she's acting as if she's the one who was kidnapped, brought here against her will. Leave then if you don't want to be here, right? People need to call out her behavior for what it is. It's pure racism against white people just in general. White people could be, Slavic people, Russian people, German people, right? And she's just saying anybody who's white is bad. That's what she's saying here. And that's just pure racism. And there's no place for this crap in a moral society. We need to denounce it. We need to call out her behavior as bad. And for the record, whoever she's talking about is so mad because they never asked to be here, right? She said, Black people never asked to be here in the United States. If they are so upset about being here, you can always leave, like Ellen DeGeneres did. She actually is leaving. It's probably because she's on Epstein's client list, right? But she's leaving with her wife to England, I think it was, after the Trump election, and she doesn't want to be around for the Trump presidency. I wonder why that is. Perhaps it's because she's on Epstein's client list. Sorry, I have a little cold. I do want to talk a little bit about Nancy Mace. I brought you this story yesterday. Nancy Mace is not scared, and now she plans to ban men and women's spaces all over, like on all federal property. So Representative Nancy Mace, she's doubling down, and she's filing a bill that will ban men from women's spaces on all federal property. Now, I don't think it should just be excluded to federal property, folks. That's what my opinion is. But this is a good start. And I am no fan of Nancy Mace. First of all, I really don't like giving these people who are grandstanding. I think Nancy Mace is grandstanding here. She's trying to get herself all kinds of attention, which I don't like to give her the attention that she's craving. Nancy Mace, I'm sure she's voted for every single Ukrainian spending package. She's probably not what you would call an American First Republican. However, I agree. We need to make sure that women are safe in their spaces, in their private spaces, and that men stay out of them, because this trans patriarchy, quite literally, when I say there's a patriarchy going on, it's the trans community, these men who want to invade women's spaces. That's the real patriarchy. Here's Nancy Mace here.
Everyone, I told you I wasn't going to stop with Capitol Hill. I'm filing another bill tonight that would ban biological men from women's spaces on all federal property all across the country. This fight starts here. It starts now. Men are not allowed in women's spaces, period. Full stop. End of story.
I like her. I mean, I like the fact that she's out here fighting for it. I've never been a big Nancy Mace fan, so it should be for all spaces and not just the ones that are owned by the government. But I guess this is the best we can do right now. It should really be all, and you don't really need a law, ladies. If a man comes into your bathroom, this has happened to me a couple of times, actually. I'm out in public and a transgender man or woman, I guess you call him, comes in, and I just politely say, "Oh, you stumbled into the woman's bathroom." 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll just leave." Even if they are trans, they're like uncomfortable and you've made them uncomfortable in that space. If you just say, "Hey, this is the woman's bathroom, you're not supposed to be in here," 9 times out of 10, they'll just leave. So according to the New York Post, South Carolina GOP Representative Nancy Mace doubled down on her push to prohibit transgender women from utilizing private spaces, female spaces on Capitol Hill by introducing legislation that would ban it on all federal property, and even claims critics are threatening her, threatening to kill me over this issue. So this is the New York Post. Look, folks, this is not a claim. Okay, I can pull up video after video, people calling quite literally for Nancy Mace to die. Okay, there was one that was really bad. He said he wanted to grab her by her hair and I think pound her face in or something. It was a transgender individual. That's not a claim. And I love how the New York Post kind of spins this, where they say, "Oh, she's claiming that that her critics are threatening to kill her over this." Somebody actually got up on stage and tried to take this woman out. So she is putting herself out there, risking her life really for this issue. So she announced the Protecting Women's Private Spaces Act, and that would restrict individuals from accessing or using single-sex facilities on federal property other than those corresponding with their gender or with their biological sex. So she says, "Oh, you're threatening me into silence? No, I'm just going to double down and I'm going to file a new bill to protect women and girls across the entire country on federal property everywhere." So she defiantly put that out there on X. Good for Nancy Mace. It's great. But the worst part is that Congress actually has to make these sort of bills. I wish that we didn't have to fight back, or like we didn't have to fight this trans patriarchy. That's what I'm going to call it. This shouldn't be a thing right now. Women should not have to be fighting for their rights like this, and to try to keep men out of women's sports, men out of female spaces, private spaces. This shouldn't be a thing. I do want to chat a little bit about Matt Gaetz. I talked about this a lot in the 6 o'clock hour, but that was the big news yesterday, is that he withdrew his name from consideration. Now we've got Donald Trump's new pick, Pamela Bondi. So she is the Florida Attorney General. Now, I had some, working theories as to why this was. One thing that we know for sure is that now that Matt Gaetz is out, we can kind of figure out who the rhinos are, people who weren't willing to vote for or nominate Matt Gaetz. We can weed those people out. The Senate is full of rhinos, okay? A lot of them, like I said, are pushing through Joe Biden's picks for these lower courts, these judges. Now, the 4 that were giving Matt Gaetz trouble, you had Curtis. Let me look these guys up. The 4. So they were meeting with the senators, and there were 4 of them: John Curtis of Utah, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. Now, they met, and they tried to get them to, vote for Matt, but they weren't holding up they weren't going to do it. I think that they would have been able to ram Matt through. There was talk about possibly going into recess, possibly not even holding a hearing, kind of working the law into their favor, where they didn't have to hold a hearing or a Senate confirmation hearing or bring it up to a vote. I think that they could have done it, but Matt Gaetz, I think he did the right thing. Honestly, it might have been a distraction. There's probably a lot that we're not seeing. Maybe they wanted to weed out the rhinos, figure out who wouldn't be for a Matt Gaetz, and then they went and they dialed it down a little bit with the Pam Bondi. She seems like she's America first. I'm excited to see what she does. I hope that she goes after. Yesterday on the program, I had said that, Matt Gaetz knows what it's like to have the government weaponized against him, because he's got the DOJ. They tried to launch an investigation against him. They called off that investigation because they had no evidence. But Matt Gaetz said, I had excellent meeting with senators, and I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. We had momentum, and it was strong, but it's clear my confirmation is unfairly becoming a distraction. I don't know if it was like a personal thing where he wanted to bow out of Congress but couldn't resign without looking like he did something wrong, considering he was under a House Ethics Committee investigation. I've got no idea what's going on, but I think it should be noted, and there was a story in this New York Times. It was incredible. They have lodged sex abuse, sex assault allegations against every single one. I mean, the Department of Ed, this woman, they've launched it against RFK Jr. They've launched it against Pete Hegseth. Every single one of Trump's picks. And this is the problem with the radical left and with politics. It's just like you can't even pick somebody without them, one, accusing you of a fascist or being a racist or a conspiracy theorist or a quack scientist, as Dick Durbin said about RFK Jr. You can't go about the Senate confirmations without insulting every single one of these picks or going after them, even legally or via the investigations with the sexual abuse thing. Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., the Department of Ed. The list goes on. They've accused Elon Musk of assaulting women at X, SpaceX, I think it was. I don't know. It was an allegation that never came to anything because there's no evidence of this stuff. They just say these things, hoping that it sticks and hoping that they bend the knee. And I don't know if they bent the knee with Matt Gaetz here. It looks like it. Him saying, I've got to bow out because I don't want to be distraction. It looks weak. But I'm hoping that we're not seeing something and that they were making this Matt Gaetz move for a reason, whether that be for him to get into the private sector and to be able to resign without making it look like, men will do a whole lot to help each other, save their name. Okay, so I don't know if Trump kind of did this guy a solid, Matt Gaetz a solid, and said, hey, I'm going to appoint you to Attorney General. You're going to resign because you are expecting this appointment. And then you can kind of save face and not resign with this investigation. We can close this investigation before before you leave Congress, so that way you're not left with this stain of being investigated for having sex with minors, which, I mean, they'll say he's guilty, but I say innocent until proven guilty. The DOJ obviously dropped any kind of investigation against Matt Gaetz, and that was Merrick Garland, who's like a dog with a bone, folks. If there was anything, Merrick Garland would have made sure it stuck, because it's Merrick Garland. If Donald Trump killed a little housefly, he would find some sort of way to put Trump behind bars because of that. Okay, so that's who Merrick Garland is. And to me, if the DOJ dropped the investigation, I think he's innocent, right? I mean, there's nothing that came of that investigation. So he dropped out shortly after the New York Times got a hold of some of these House Ethics Committee documents. Very interesting. I hope the best for this new attorney general. Maybe we'll get another pick. Who knows? Maybe it's pretty early to be making these picks. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I so do appreciate you tuning in here to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. We'll do it all over again on Monday morning, bright and early, 6 a.m. Bye-bye. Love you very much.